Yeah, like verbally, mentally abusive, like would say stuff. So, okay, I told you about this text, but pretty much that was like his cycle of doing things. He would hurt me, do something like really mean, like say something really mean to me. Then I would confront him and say, hey, that was really mean, like why do you say that? Then he would turn it around and make it like his, like he's the victim and it was my fault. And then he'd be like, well, you said this, how could you do this to me? Do you even know how bad that hurt me? And it, like all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what? Like literally what is happening? And then it would turn into like him telling me all the things that I did wrong and how it was all my fault and how like I did it to myself. And then whether I apologized or not, he would then make it into a joke and then just pretend like nothing ever happened, and it would leave me like, what is happening? And he literally said that he liked to play games with me where he would try to like push me away as far as he could or like hurt me so bad to the point where I'm gonna leave him, and then like totally flip like 180 and then be super nice to me and see if he could like bring me back and get me to like him again. So not cool. Like I don't know, I didn't. Like I just kept accepting it and thinking like it was normal, and like I kind of knew that he was a sociopath, so I kept telling myself, oh well, like he's just a sociopath, like that's just how he is. And it doesn't make sense to other people, but like I feel like I'm pretty empathetic and like I really can feel for other people. So once I knew that he like was a sociopath, I would say like, oh well, he probably had a bad like home life, you know, bad family. He probably had some trauma in his past, and I would kind of like excuse it all that way. But coping with it at the time, I didn't. Right now, I just make art to deal with it. But yeah. I think by making art, especially like that piece that I showed you, it kind of let me, how I said it, it was like taking all of this stuff that he said to me that I would just internalize and try to like excuse it and validate it, but I put it on like a piece of paper and I just wrote it all down, and I literally had to look at it and I'm like, oh my god, this is so not right, it's not normal, nobody should ever say this to another human being. And by doing that, it kind of helped me like realize that I was in a better place now without him, and that that was not okay. And I think just by making like that one piece, it kind of helped me realize like what I deserve and what's normal in relationships, and that just wasn't. And then I also like that like felt like I could help other people based on that, because just by writing it out really helped me realize it. So maybe other people could do the same. No, because I feel like it's just like verbal abuse. Like what can I even do? You know, it's not like he hit me or anything. I mean, I just blocked him and hope that I never see him again. I mean, if it ever like got worse, I definitely would have to call the police, but I think right now it's just like he's just crazy and likes to hurt me. Like he literally said that, so it's like, well, just won't let him talk to me and then he can't hurt me anymore. So
And then
no, they wanted me to get out of it like the whole time, and I kept like going back to him. And then I mean, I know after we broke up, some of them told me that I would be really stupid if I got back together with him, which like I know that, but mostly they were pretty supportive of me. I mean, my one friend literally said to me when we were dating, she said, look, I don't know what you think is going to come from this, but I just want you to know that it's your decision, you do what you need to do, but like after it's all over, like I will be here to pick up the pieces. And at the time I was like, I don't want to hear this, I'm in a relationship, like I love him. But like, I mean, everyone else kind of had like this outsider perspective, so I think they were all really relieved actually when I left. I hope that I will not take any more shit and people actually treat me nicely with respect, because I think that's what I deserve. And I think like realizing these signs and knowing, like the thing that made me so angry was I knew he was a sociopath, but I kept like, I don't know, trying to justify it. And I think in the future, if I ever see signs like that, I'll be like, no, nope, gotta go. So hopefully that I just won't go back to somebody as crazy as that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, literally my grandma, she called me afterwards and she was like, oh, I think he's a serial killer, like, get away from him. My mom, she was like, oh, thank God, like, he was the worst, I never liked him, I didn't want to tell you what to do, but I'm so happy. Like, they were all genuinely concerned for my safety, so it was like, it was kind of weird that they didn't really tell me my concerns, or their concerns during the time we were dating, but at least nothing happened, so. A little bit when we, like, broke up briefly and they were like, hey, you probably shouldn't, but my mom said, if he treats you badly one more time, I expect you to leave him, and, like, I did, so I think if I stayed, she would have been like, hey, look, like, let's have an intervention because this is wrong. I thought it was really interesting, and I kind of wanted to share it, but it just felt like something, like, so personal that I was like, oh, I don't know if, like, other people should see this, and it was like, I think it's just, like, kind of empowering, but more so shocking, and it's just really sad that it happens to so many people. And I kind of got, not my idea from this hashtag, but, like, my hashtag my ex said that I did with my piece, it kind of went along with the Me Too movement, because it's like, there's more than just, like, a sexual, like, assault, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can verbally abuse you too, and I think it's kind of interesting how these two ideas, like, kind of could merge. Well, I think I'd probably just, like, talk to him and see what's going on, like, what she's saying, and figure out how I could help. It's really hard because you can't just say, like, oh, you should leave, because it has to be, like, a personal decision. If you want to get out, then I feel like other people can help you, but until you make that decision for yourself, like, no one can really help. Yeah. So that makes it very difficult. But I mean, I think everyone kind of reaches a point where you're like, okay, enough's enough, this is just, like, not gonna work anymore. But for me, it took a whole year, so. Well, he kind of broke up with me, so I didn't really have one, I guess. I had a bunch of breaking points where the first time that we really broke up, he got in a huge fight with me and told me that I, like, physically assaulted him when we were drinking, and that I was, like, hurting him, and made up all these lies and said all this horrible stuff about me, and, like, made me cry, made me feel so bad about myself. And then after he said all this stuff, and he was like, I'm leaving you, like, I never want to see you again. Right afterwards, he was quiet and then said, so why do you love me? You know, I think I love you. And I'm like, what? You just said all this horrible stuff about me and then said that you love me? Like, he said it before I ever did. And I was just so confused. And then in the morning, he woke up and pretended like nothing ever happened. And I was like, that's not okay. And I was like, I can't be with someone who can just do that. So I, like, cut it off after that. I was like, I can't have that. And then he told me that he was gonna change. And that's why we got back together, like, a couple months later, because he, like, changed, but only for, like, 2 months, and then he went back to his old self. I think similarity, for sure, is, like, just kind of hating yourself and feel like you're, like, worthless. Like, their goal is just to beat you down and make you feel like you're nothing, and that they can just take advantage of you. And then differences, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like it has the same effects. I think physically, you just, maybe you don't feel like your body is 100% yours anymore. You feel just, like, completely taken advantage of, and I mean, you could probably grow to, like, hate yourself and, like, feel disgusted in your own skin, which is just so fucked up. But, like, I think if you're mentally abused, it's different in the sense where you feel like your own, like, thoughts aren't yours, because they can just put thoughts in your head that you never even had and, like, change the way you think. So they're both, like, equally toxic, just, like, slightly different. Just, like, kind of be aware of signs, and if you think it's a red flag and you feel it, like, in your gut, it probably is wrong. And honestly, I used to write little notes. I would take notes day by day, because when I took them back, I said, I'm not dealing with bullshit anymore. And I literally every day I would journal how I was feeling about it so that he couldn't change my opinion. And I think just writing down how you actually feel is kind of helpful figuring out if you're in a bad place or not. Because then nobody can change your opinions because it's on paper. That really is how you felt, you know?